This, as you probably should know, is the Earth. And this is the Earth with our solar system. We're about to see modern day nations colonize planets here. Not only planets, but we have the Earth's moon as well. And there's Mars and their two weird moons. They're just shaped so weird. They're more just asteroids, but the nations will be able to colonize them too. You can physically see the asteroid belt, and I think that is also colonizable. And finally, here's the 4 gas giants. So let's see which planet. Holy crap, what was that? Oh, these are already colonies that people have like satellite-wise that are like orbiting space. Okay, well that does make it a bit more fair. I think all the countries will now be able to go and expand, and that's why we've seen so many different colors move through these. I guess they're essentially space tunnels. And look at that, there's already wars being declared even though space exploration is here. Brazil declared war on Turkey, so they must have like 2 satellites that are probably going up against each other. Apparently all 197 nations are here. Well, one already died, but 196. I can't believe they managed to cram everything still in these spots. So the nations that made it to the moon first: Russia, India, as well as China and the United States. So it's 4. Oh, there actually might be in the UK as well. Oh, we're literally going to be witnessing space battles. I'm now just realizing that. Iraq here is going after Iran. These are not going to be easy. There are so many cities that you can colonize. That makes this scenario even more incredible because they had to include all the cities. So these aren't necessarily cities. Starlink, I don't know, Sirius, don't they run the radio or something? Alabama. I wonder if some of these are just AI generated or if these are all real. Some of them do. Oh, here's BBC for whatever reason. I think they are using maybe real life satellites. Oh boy, the US versus Canada. And while that is happening in the background, we'll be able to see as different nations move through the space tunnels. I think the Earthlings will be getting to Mars and then Venus, or maybe around the same time. So technically the US, I don't think will die here if they have DC taken. Okay, well Canada might die, but they have so many things in space, so they could get, okay, Canada did just die. But you can get banished off of Earth and then rebuild your civilization somewhere around the solar system. That is going to be possible. I mean, for sure, some of these places that are already living on the moon, they could probably just stay up there. So already the US basically has most of North America. That's right, I forgot to check this. So Russia is still, in terms of area, the largest nation on Earth, but the US is very close behind, and that is because all their territories on the moon and in the solar system. There's also China, Brazil, India, Australia even. And now I'm just wondering, like, is the AI going to be able to actually colonize everything before Earth gets taken over by one nation? Because I think it's definitely likely here that somebody probably conquers all of Earth, and then they have to go and have space battles for like Saturn. Some smaller nations, the really small places, because they're literally just 1 pixel big, they get taken out instantly. Oh, that's right, we have puppets to have to watch out for too. Holy crap. Okay, well Brazil is one of the biggest nations on Earth, and they've just got their capital taken. So this is all now Colombian territory. Oh, they've also been puppeted. A lot of nations still exist in Africa. It's funny, there are like sea tiles. I was kind of curious what would have happened without the satellites here, because there'd be only a couple. I'm glad there are satellites because we have like at least a dozen nations that are doing space exploration. But the windows to leave the atmosphere, there was only a couple open for nations, maybe like 4 or 5. Oh, there's actually a couple over here. What the hell is this? What is this? Some sort of weird space formation? Are there aliens? We should have probably created like Martians like over here that would get really big, and eventually the humans would have to battle. So there are 2 nations that have so far hit Mars. It is of course the USA and China, and there is currently a race for Mars as well as her 2 moons. Oh wow, okay, the US is getting the vast majority of Mars. Meanwhile, there's only 1 person here. It's Russia and Venus. Considering like all the space things that Russia did, especially during the Cold War, like they definitely deserve like 1 planet. Oh wait, this is mostly France. I missed that color. Okay, Russia's in the south of Venus. Meanwhile, France is getting the rest of it. And we have the US that is first landed here inside of Mercury. I don't even know how did Indonesia, oh, you can pop in from the other side. And this is China literally colonizing the surface of what looks to be the sun. I forgot that we could do that. Literally Apollo here. We have an Apollo mission. So just at the, wow, look at the shape. It looks like the moon. You know when the moon has the shadow of it? Anyways, the nation of Algeria somehow got a small part of Mars. We have Cyprus with one of the moon Mars, the moons of Mars, and then also China gets the other one. Wow, this is really well made. Like everyone kind of gets a chance. I'm always surprised to see who's getting to what countries first. Okay, and we have the US making it to the asteroid belt. So after the asteroid belt starts the gas giants. Oh, it closes up right here though. So it looks like the US is going to be getting to, that is not Saturn. I believe this is Uranus, and then this is Neptune. I just know that isn't the ring supposed to be vertical? Well, I guess that depends on, what way you're looking at it, but yeah, pretty much like close enough right here. We also have Indonesia on the other side that's very likely to get to Uranus. Trying really hard not to make a stupid pun joke. There's Turkey getting a couple of asteroids here in the asteroid belt. I can't even imagine the valuable material resources that we would find on asteroids. They say that there's something out there we're going to start to use. And China has currently been taken over with India's taking them all over. China is safe. I do want to find their their capital is probably one of these satellites out here. Would we even be able to find it? Yeah, they have a lot of satellites. Oh, I think this is their new capital, the PRC-1, possibly, which is actually a satellite of the moon, I believe. Whoa, it's South Korea. South Korea got to Mercury, and the majority of Mercury is colonized by South Korea. Then here's Indonesia. And look at the sun go. South Korea here as well. Literally, that's just like I'm imagining at this point in South Korea's history, they're just like this, like a corporatocracy. Like it's Samsung. It's not even South Korea. It's just a giant Samsung nation state. Can't believe the island of Cyprus has a complete monopoly over this Mars moon. They're actually getting pretty far out there with, I mean, Cyprus might be the only one that colonizes Jupiter. Oh no, I do see the wow, they had to go so far down. These are the Indonesians, right? Yeah. There's so much territory here, I think. Actually, I don't know. I'm now just realizing it could be like water, the water situation. You know, this doesn't actually provide value to AIs in this game, the sea tiles. And a lot of these planets are made out of those tiles. So some of this might not actually be land for them to colonize. I don't really know how that's going to go. Indonesia is #1 currently on Earth. Well, it's actually, they're not on Earth, but in the game. Indonesia just has their normal islands here, but in terms of area, they also have a large part of, well, not even that large. How are they doing so well? This is what I'm saying. Those sea tiles, they might look bigger than they actually are. Look how far Russia has fallen. Even though Russia still has all their territory on Earth, in terms of actual land, I mean, they believe this is Venus and they have the moon, but they're in 4th place in this game. Oh man, I think Earth is actually, specifically Europe, well, there's a lot of alliances forming up. These similar colors were kind of throwing me off. So funny enough, the first gas giant to be colonized is actually Uranus, and now they're just getting to Jupiter. It's just funny because Uranus is pretty far out there in terms of the distance it is from Earth. It'd be probably Jupiter as the first gas giant. Wow, look how huge China's getting. Is that contributing to that is contributing. A lot of this stuff is growing. Oh, here's the red, that red storm, the red dot. So it's Indonesia, China, and then we do have Cyprus like I was talking about. Oh man, gold is being thrown through the solar system, usually to fund different wars. It's just, you know, thrown between the continents. The economy of Venus is now like boosting up the war that's happening in Mars. This is getting so sci-fi right now. Now, of course, we have India versus Pakistan. I'm surprised India didn't instantly take out Pakistan, but they are also fighting. Oh, there's an alliance going on. Here goes Mongolia. That's gonna. Oh wait, is that Kazakhstan? No, that is Mongolia, but they had the old color. Okay, now Russia's gonna be really struggling because the Mongolians are once again taking over all of this part of Asia. That actually might mean there could be people that aren't in the solar system traveling and doing colonization. Like look at now Mongolia. I don't think they had a satellite, did they? They didn't have a satellite that goes further out than just Earth's orbit. They might be able to punch through and start killing more of these satellites and then begin to form their new space colonies. Right now, I don't think they have much of anything over here. Almost all of Jupiter has been colonized. At this point, we have Japan getting here at the last second, so they're going to get a little foothold. Here's also India, as well as another big part of, oh, that's Turkey. I was going to say that's China, but no. There's only a little bit of territory left. I think the space tunnels, these tunnels here are the sea tiles, so that's not providing anything to them. Holy crap, Indonesia is massive. They've got to be winning this, right? In terms of territory, they are currently winning. Then it's India and China. The US has kind of definitely fallen. I think Russia either died, no, they're not dead, but they just don't look good. Russia, one of the founding members of, like, you know, I mean, they were the first to space. Obviously not first to the moon though. Yeah, not doing that well here. Meanwhile, back at home, we've got Czechia starting a pretty big war, trying to maybe eliminate the Russians from Earth completely. Not a whole lot of alliances going on in this world. There are some space alliances, funny enough. Like the alliances in Earth don't really match what's going on in the solar system. It's funny that Saturn and Jupiter only have 1 moon each. Meanwhile, these are the planets with the most amount of moons. Like they technically have over 100 objects orbiting both. All 100 of those objects aren't necessarily considered moons. We're still kind of figuring that out. Actually, they probably have a whole lot more than just 100 objects, if we're just saying objects, if it's anything. I don't know how we're colonizing the sun, but you know what? I don't really care. This is cool. Oh man, space battle. Space battle. South Korea is trying to kick out the Indonesians from, this is Mercury. They want a complete monopoly over planets now. Meanwhile, there is gold being funded back in Earth. This is crazy because all of the solar system is now currently colonized, but Earth is obviously just as divided as ever. So now they're bringing back like space resources. Maybe they found like some sort of crazy resource to give them crazy technology from Jupiter. They're launching that back in Earth, so now the wars are getting more insane. There's definitely like I was gonna say a world war happening, but you know what? It's not world wars anymore. They're solar wars, I think. Oh man, look at Tanzania go. They've got a lot of allies here too, all the way to the north with Turkey. Oh wow, Indonesia currently has all of, I believe this is Neptune. Nobody else has landed in Neptune. That's providing Indonesia a lot of extra power. We'll see if India holds on with Turkey to Saturn, and also the US is gonna have to try to keep the Indonesians from getting bigger and bigger here in Uranus. Now we have a war, Peru trying to kick back the Colombians, who were kind of the de facto leader of South America once they kicked out of Brazil. Oh, now the Indians doing some pretty big work against the Mongolians. There's still 89, 88 nations left, but in reality, we can definitely say at least like this top 8 are, one of the top 8 is probably gonna be the winner here. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's likely. I just love the colonization of Mars. That's really interesting, especially with Algeria here for some reason with this moon and a little bit of the surface of Mars. Australia is divided between New Zealand and Australia. Okay, I don't know why I should have known that. We have Vietnam back. I believe Vietnam might be a puppet though. They're a puppet of Saudi Arabia somehow, but they have all of China. Oh man, the gold that's getting thrown around. This is going to be extremely difficult. Some of these bigger wars that are going to have to take place just to be able to kill everybody. Small war between Somalia and Sudan. Sudan very close to getting the Horn of Africa. Meanwhile, the French have eliminated, I think the UK is gone, which means that's one of the reasons why there were less players here in the solar system. Because the UK did start off really well. The amount of puppets forming and people that are annexing their puppets, really hard to keep up with all this stuff. Another big war for South America. It's actually a three-way war. Everyone's trying to kick out the Colombians. Again, the Colombians, I don't believe, have any space territory. They have satellites. Oh, wait, maybe they do. Oh, it's Turkey. How did Turkey do that? Oh, meanwhile, Turkey's been kicked out of the Anatolia Peninsula. It's been taken all over by Greece. Greece doesn't care if they have a colonial space empire. They just want to still kill the Turks, and they've done that successfully. I believe Turkey has now been banished to just the outer edges. Well, they're in the gas giants, but they do still have stuff around here. They have satellites and things. There's still so many nations left, but the map is so big that the gold has to get thrown around all over the place. Most of the capitals are being kept like somewhere within the either Earth's orbit or Earth's moon. I am noticing that because it's not like I'm seeing gold getting thrown, because the gold gets thrown from capitals. The big war now, the US versus China on the surface of Mars. That's really interesting to think about. I don't know why that's making me think of like Helldivers 2. It's gonna be crazy once we see certain nations puppet entire planets, because there's gonna be so much. Wow, I think China has definitely kicked out the Indonesians a little bit from at least Jupiter here. I don't know how they're supposed to get to Indonesia. So set here. They are probably, they might be able to kick the Indians off of this moon that Saturn controls. Here goes Iraq, as they've taken over all of modern day Iran. Meanwhile, the United States are trying to take out Mexico. Oh, that's actually Guatemala. Mexico's gone. Japan does still exist, but they do not exist currently on Earth's surface. They're out here on the moon, as well as obviously like I said, they made it to Jupiter. Who is going to fight and kill all these satellites? That's going to be really difficult. Oh, it's actually South Korea that kicked out the Japanese from their islands. Is Bermuda its own place? Oh no, the UK just still control Bermuda. There's actually not as many space wars as you would think right now. Most of the action is still taking place on Earth's surface. It's just these nations can be a lot more powerful than they might look, because they could be very small here but have a bunch of territory out this way. That's actually the case for Indonesia, since they aren't even here. Indonesia is still by far the biggest nation, I shouldn't say on Earth, but in the solar system. Then there's India, China, Turkey, the US, and also South Korea. You gotta watch out for them. Namibia getting pretty big on the African continent. Whatever happened to Cyprus? Did Cyprus already get killed out here? We're under 50 nations left. Still love how divided the moon is. How many people were we able to fit on them? There's so many nations. A lot of skulls all over the place, which signifies a nation dying, but also a lot of peace deals and gold getting thrown around. The race for the sun currently, I think, is being won by Singapore. I think they have the most territory here. I wish we could divide up like who has the most territory out of each planet. That would just be kind of cool. I feel like we're gonna have a very strange winner here though. That's all I think, because I don't even know, does it really matter like who has? I feel like actually this stuff is more valuable than the planets around in the solar system. So if one nation takes over all this and then has to fight, like, let's just say a giant Indonesia, I don't know how well Indonesia is gonna do. There's just a lot more cities out here. I don't know if there's any cities. Yeah, there's no green dot, red dot. This stuff might be just more valuable perhaps. Here goes a big India that's trying to conquer all of Asia. Meanwhile, Egypt, who pretty much has conquered all of Europe, at least very close that is. Ukraine had a bunch of the Anatolia Peninsula, but now they're currently fighting Turkey, who's actually come back. 33 nations left. Wait, did somebody? Oh, I thought this stuff just like disappeared. This is France. France looks like there's nothing out here. Very big war for France. People are really trying to kick the French out of Venus, it looks like, because the French basically don't even exist. Wait, is the UK, is the US a puppet almost? Okay, yeah, these wars are getting really massive now. The French basically hold all their power inside of Venus still. And the big rival here is Russia, so the Russians are going to want to kick them out. Nobody's really moved much on the surface of Mars just yet between the US and China. We still have a divide here in Mercury between Indonesia a little bit and South Korea. The asteroid belt, on the other hand, is mostly controlled by China, which is like really the gateway to get to the gas giants. But there's actually a couple of, think of these as like space canals. I'm thinking like the Panama Canal, the Suez Canal. Oh man, Peru, still very big in South America. Is this the US? Oh, that's South Korea. So clearly puppets are actually being like fully annexed, since I don't know how South Korea got to South America. Name-wise, it makes sense though. The problem with these space battles, or just in certain spots, is that there's not a whole lot of territory. Well, I guess there kind of is, but it's very difficult. Oh yeah, see, these guys are actually fighting on the front lines. But in other areas, it's very hard. It's like, imagine 300, you know, like the 300 Spartans. It's hard to charge through these tunnels. There's not a whole lot of space to work with, advance different fronts. There's a big war between China and Indonesia that's taking place for the surface of Jupiter. Can I even say the surface, because Jupiter is just gas giant? Where are they even fighting on this? Are these just people with jetpacks flying over the atmosphere? Also, Singapore has in fact moved their capital to the surface of the sun, and it looks like South Korea is about to completely kick off the Indonesians from Mercury. Oh man, imagine the personal unions that are about to go down when like one country peacefully, diplomatically annexes another. That's probably already happening. I'm just not noticing it. Turkey now has most of Europe. India has been pushed. They don't even have their Indian peninsula anymore. China is now back. Japan is now back. Got the Saudi Arabians. Wow, look at the Saudi Arabians who have so many of these satellites here. Also, they're trying to win out in the moon. Honestly, this is kind of what I wanted Stellaris to be, the Paradox space game. The idea of like everything taking place within our solar system is more interesting, I gotta admit, than just like, you know, a giant universe. Especially when like a lot of this stuff is, you know, it's kind of made up. Like at least this is all, you know, we know our planets. Look at South Korea go, as they've almost made a monopoly over the north, like the orbit of Earth, the north, and I don't even know if we can say northeast, southwest, because it doesn't really make any sense over here, but they have all this stuff. So many different battles happening. It's actually hard to keep up. When I zoom all the way out, it's weird what happens to the game. I don't know if it's because there's some interlacing issues that's happening, all the tunnels or what, but the colors get really weird. We now have Japan that has a majority of Africa, meanwhile a lot of South Asia and the Middle East. Finally had a pretty big death. Was that Peru that just dropped? South Korea with so much of South America, and then there's just Indonesia over here as well. Turkey allied to Indonesia. They have kind of a space alliance going on as they're trying to counteract India and China here in Saturn and Jupiter. Looks like Japan is winning the race for the surface of the moon. It's basically between Japan and the US. Another big war for Mercury. The South Koreans have not been able to fully kick out the Indonesians from this planet, and it's going to be very difficult to do because of how much of a stronghold they have in the tunnels. The Japanese have only one path to Jupiter right now, and if that path gets cut off, because they have this path through the asteroid belt as well, we can actually see where the maze begins. Oh, so what happened right here? Who took all of that? China actually separated Japan slightly with that, so maybe we could be seeing some problems for Japan soon. There's actually a crazy maze that's going on here. Like we could follow, obviously it's a maze, but we can follow how individual countries got to different parts of the planets, and if that's still interlinked, as in the case for Japan, like China did kind of chop them off. Here's Turkey with a bunch of North Africa and all of Europe, I think. We're down to just 9 nations left, and surprisingly, Japan really doesn't have that much space to work with. They are very small compared to the rest of the intergalactic empires. I actually don't think they're technically, by definition, intergalactic. Interplanetary, I think. With the final 7 here, it looks like, I mean, mainly there's only a couple players in actual Earth. The US is one of them, and they are allied to Turkey. Then there's South Korea out here. Asia's still kind of a mess. This is just like a giant, this just reminds me of like a Risk game at this point. And there's been multiple battles. China's actually fighting a lot. Actually, it's China and Turkey that are having to fight, but not a whole lot has been going on over here. I guess we can still have world wars. It's just that those world wars have to only be on Earth, because it won't make any sense if not. It's actually the US that's conquered all of Mars. Oh, there were cities that the AIs were slowly putting down. The US also actually won on Moon as well. It's hard to tell. And here's the US with all of the Earth's surface to finish things off. They're actually now moving deep into Venus territory and the rings of Neptune as well. All the rocky planets have been finished off. Meanwhile, it's just the Moon War, the Sun War, which sounds insane. So a city placed on the sun. There you go. It's just the battle for the gas giants at this point, because everything else to the north of the asteroid belt, which is a weird way to say north, the inner asteroid belt has been conquered. And there they go. Indonesia has been killed. They moved their capital all the way out to Neptune, but that was not enough to save them. This was a really cool scenario. I love this. To my patrons this month, thank you. Lucas, the Canadian Goose from Avaka. Zany Boy.
난밖에 표정으로 돌아온 내 아빠야.
Without douche, amateur archaeology, fat Norwalk, Connor, beautiful Megan, Frederick Inquisitor, Kansas, Denver, King Bear, Lucas Prentice, Luxembourg Lover, and the Mexican 760.